On April 21, 1999, I was shopping in Kmart, and I at the time was pregnant and also a diabetic. My legs felt a little weak, and I thought my blood sugar was low, but when I took it, it was normal. So I checked out of the store and started my 5-minute trip home. But I turned around and went back to the store. I just wasn't feeling right, and so I parked the car and went into the store and told the greeter I needed an ambulance. She went and told the customer service desk personnel that I needed an ambulance. One was called, and then 911 called back and asked what was wrong. I told them to tell them that I was a 48-year-old pregnant diabetic and I felt weak, that something was wrong. The greeter got a wheelchair and had me sit down. I leaned my head over on her side, and she rubbed my head. I told her that I thought I was going to die. I just had this feeling. She said, "Baby, you are going to be all right." The ambulance arrived, and I got up and walked to the stretcher and laid down, not having any real distress, just felt real tired. The paramedic took all my vital signs and got my medical information, and he said everything looked good. They ran an emergency run on me even though everything was good. I was wheeled into the ER, and just as I was put on the ER stretcher, I heard the nurse say, "Her heart has stopped." The ER doctor said that my lead was loose, and the nurse said, "No, her heart has stopped." The ER doctor checked me and said, "This woman is dead." Well, my friend had followed us to the hospital, and he came in the ER room and looked at me and said, "Do you want me to call your mom?" I said, "No, I'll be out of here in a little bit." But he said, when he opened the door, he did say that, but I never answered. He said they were already working on me. And he said, "You was gone." This is the best part. I will never forget as long as I live, if I live to be 1,000. I just walked through the door, and I was in another land. The most wonderful and beautiful place I have ever seen. I remember standing in this street that was cobblestone, but it was gold, and I looked down at my feet, and just looked at my bare feet on this beautiful gold street. I walked over to one of the buildings, and it was so astonishingly beautiful. I remember taking my hand and rubbing the wall and admiring the beauty. I just stood there and rubbed it. As I began walking down the street, I met people, and we just knew everything. We exchanged smiles, and I said I was looking for my sister and daughter. I knew they were there. It was just a matter of finding them. I was not scared. I had a peace and understanding of everything. I had no memory of my life here. I just knew who was there, and I kept on looking at this city that was in front of me. I was walking into the city. It was gold and just casted off all the light in this world. There was no sun or moon, but the sky was so beautiful. There was colors of all kinds. The sky was so beautiful. I would stop every now and then and remain to look at my feet walking on this gold street. I then would go to the walls of the buildings and rub them more, so beautiful. There was trees and water so clear. Everyone knew everyone. It was like I had been there forever. I was so happy and had this peace in me that is non-explainable. At that time I knew everything. I was at peace. I remember just standing and looking around at this beautiful city, so beautiful. And when I went around a corner of a building, I heard my daughter call me, and I was so happy I was going to see her. And then a voice said, "It's not your time yet to be here." And then I woke up into this hell of an oxygen mask on me. My mom and sister were standing in the corner of my room. I remember my sister asking the nurse, if I came to it, I have brain damage, and she said, only time would tell. The nurse called my name and said, "Do you know what happened to you?" She said, "When you came into the ER, your heart stopped, you went into VFib, and it took us over 4.5 minutes to get you back." I wrote on the paper towel, no, I had been to this city of gold, and I wanted to go back. She said, "When you came in, you died." And I wrote, "Please let me go back. My sister and daughter was waiting on me." I wanted to go back. I didn't want to stay here. She told me that if God had been ready for me, He wouldn't have let me come back. She said, "We worked really hard on you to get you back." Well, from all the shocks I had received, my baby died. I then had to have 3 bypasses, and I wouldn't sign for them. I was so critical they let my mother sign for my surgery. All my life I had been scared of death, but it is the most wonderful experience I have ever had, and that includes giving birth. I yearned to return. Even the surgery never worried me because I knew what was on the other side. So I was just waiting. But for several months after the episode, I had this displaced feeling, like I just didn't belong here anymore. My eyes were sensitive to this light. This didn't seem to be my world anymore, and I would just cry to go back. Well, I told my doctor, and he said that patients he has talked to have this same feeling. He asked me if I ever considered suicide. I told him, no. He said that some people want to go back and they do this and have these thoughts. I told him, God can take care for me, and what He wants for me will be. I finally got back in the normal flow of life. But I still think of this daily, and I'll just cry because I am homesick sometimes. I just figured that my life journey here is not finished, and there are people I have to share love with and tell what a wonderful world is forever.